Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, July 16, 2024. It's 4:30 PM, and this is the New Ulm City Council meeting. Andrea is on special assignment tonight, so she will not be here. So let's move right into it, folks. We got a robust agenda and a very long, or potentially long, work session. So, first item on the agenda is our consent agenda items. Councilors?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve our consent agenda items. Any questions on anything? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have 3 public hearings, so let's get into those. Item number 2.1, a public hearing for a noise variance for Music for a Mission. So this is a public hearing, so I will go ahead and open it up to anybody who would want to speak about this. Anybody here? What's your name and address for the record, please?
Terry Zinnel, 61710 Sunset Lane, representing Music for a Mission. We are once again requesting a noise variance for our Party by the Pond event that it will be August 24th. The gates are going to open this year at 2 o'clock and music starts at 3 to 11. We're requesting a variance from that time, but up until midnight, just so for tear down and to allow the people to exit the grounds. We'll take the same safety and security precautions as we did last year. We hired private security and had the perimeter fenced in. And we have, there'll be ID carding at the gate with Brown County Sheriff's Department last year allowed us to use their ID scanners, and the security will be handling that part. Last year we were really happy with our turnout last year for the first year for the event. I think we were just over 900 people. So we're looking to improve on that and be able to donate proceeds back to the community again.
And there was no issues last year, and I think it was you had a nice turnout too,
Yeah,
right?
it was really
Yeah.
great. We got right off that hot weather. The weather was beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything went really well last year.
Any questions?
I've got no questions. I heard nothing but good about it.
Yeah.
I was
Thank
not
you for
able to
putting it
attend.
on.
So,
I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing and,
Yeah, I'll offer the motion to close the public hearing and authorize the request from Music for a Mission, Terry Zinnel, for noise variance to permit amplified sound at Zinnel Utility Contracting, 4 Thompson Street, to host Party by the Pond event on Saturday, August 24th, 2024, from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Sunday, August 25th, 2024. And good luck.
All right, thank you.
we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. This is a resolution, so please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes,
And Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
passes. Thank you. Our second public hearing is for a noise variance for New Ulm Chamber of Commerce spiking in the street. Again, it's a public hearing. Anybody wish to speak about it? Sarah, anything you want to comment about? Same as last year? Went over very well? Okay. Okay.
Nobody wants to be heard. I'm going to offer the resolution, close the public hearing, and authorize the request from the New Ulm Chamber of Commerce for a noise variance to permit amplified sound and music during spiking in the street on Minnesota Street between 2nd North and Center Streets for the following: Friday, August 2, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Nicole, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
And Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Motion passes. Our third public hearing is regarding our the unmanned aerial system program. The drone. Mr. Borkert, Chief Borkert.
Vice President Schultz, members of the council, my name is Dave Borkert. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of New Ulm. With your permission, I'd like to share some staff updates concerning our unmanned aerial system. This involves an unmanned aerial vehicle, which is commonly referred to as a drone. In the interest of using time wisely, I'll keep the information brief. I know you've got a large agenda here, but there's just a few things that we really want to cover for the interests of for the public that's viewing and possibly present here. So just to start off, the drone is a shared resource between the police and fire departments. There's several law enforcement applications for drone use. However, search and rescue is the primary reason for making this investment. Report to the state of Minnesota annually for law enforcement use outside of a search warrant. My prediction is that we'll primarily be using it for search and rescue, for training, and with assisting the fire department, which is probably going to be 95 to 100% of the reported use. But that's a prediction. The current cost of our drone is $11,514 so far. We purchased a DJI Mavic drone. So far, we've been very impressed with the technology and capability. The drone was purchased using public safety aid. This state of Minnesota money that was provided to local government units to be used to improve public safety, which we believe we've responsibly done. From a budgeting perspective, we have budgeted $34,950. In the future, we will likely be adding another drone to best serve the needs of the public that we serve. All of this will be coming from the public safety aid funds and will not affect local property tax levy. At this time, we're confident that we'll be under budget. Purchasing a drone was a lawful purpose for these funds. We will use the drone as long as we can. However, we are currently figuring on a 7-year replacement schedule, primarily due to technology and software updates and support timeframes potentially involving future upgrades. We'll use it as long as we can, but we just, we have to have some type of a reasonable expectation of how long it's going to take or how long it's going to last. And again, just the way software is, we're thinking probably 7 years, 8 years, something like that. As a chief of police, I'm responsible to make sure that we're in compliance with law. This hearing is an important part of that compliance. Minnesota State Statute 626.19 provides lawful expectations of our drone system. We have an updated policy, Policy 606, that better reflects law enforcement operational changes that best serve the community. And Commander Barstead will be touching on this in a few minutes when I turn the presentation over to him. At this time, I'd like to introduce other members of our drone team. So we have Commander Dean Barstead. He serves as our operational chief and training officer and also a pilot. He's currently a certified pilot. Senior Investigator Chris Mullenhoff is our compliance officer and pilot in training. Investigator Tara Martin, technical coordinator and pilot in training. And then Adam Towles is our contracted pilot, training and technical consultant. So anybody that would be flying the drone would need either Commander Barstead or Adam Towles present while we're doing it. So at this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Investigator Martin and Mullenhoff, and then they'll be followed by Commander Barstead with some brief comments, basically an executive summary. So, and then after that, all of us will be available for questions and address any comments that you might have.
Thank you.
So Investigator Martin.
Can we get the screen converted over to Tara's laptop? We got it.
Okay, so we just put a little PowerPoint together because it's easier to see this stuff than to just talk about it. So as stated, this is our team. Still working on our.
Probably a little closer to the mic, otherwise they're not gonna, the people from home are not gonna be able to pick you up.
Is there a clicker? You want to click? Okay. Okay, so as Chief Borkert said, this is our drone team right now. Said, just moving forward, we'll add more when we're able, and same with the fire department. These are the statutes that Chief Borkert had mentioned and what we'll be abiding by state statute and other expectations with the FAA. This is just some of the capabilities of the drones and how we expect to use it. These are flight patterns that we can coordinate to maximize our resources. So we can set up this grid and we hit play and it goes up and it does that. And so that's a much more efficient way than just manually driving it. And if there's something we need to look at, we can just deviate, look at it and come back and then maintain. And it's just a very efficient way to cover areas and only specific areas. So it would only, I guess, capture what is in that path. So that would just be an example of that, and you can do your settings, so I think this would be really beneficial for our needs. Just hit next. So our current drone is not very big, it's about 14 inches, but it's quiet. This is indoor, but this is just showing its application, what it can do in the night. This is an example of a normal image with, I guess, the ambient light that gets cast outward versus the thermal imaging. On the right, you can see a dark spot, and on the left, you can't see anything at all. So when you get closer, you're able to see that that's a gun, and that's something that would have been beneficial in our search that you wouldn't have seen to your naked eye. And that will be important if we're looking for discarded items, because you'll have that residual heat that you'll be able to see that it wouldn't be practical to expect someone to find that otherwise. And this is a good example of, I guess, a safety consideration, is being able to get close to things and look at them without being close, not having officers at risk. So this is just a video of a firearm, and then it will zoom in and you can actually see how clear it is. And I think there's no question we can see, every detail there is to that. And this video is from that first video you saw in the dark. That was the distance we were at, so you can just see all the details and the clarity of these videos. Next one. Next. So this is just another example of the thermal capabilities. So on the running board, there was a knife that I had in my pocket. Again, you wouldn't be able to normally see it. And then with our thermal, it's very obvious. So that's something that, would be of interest too for locating articles if someone had left it behind. Next one. This is another application we could use it for search and rescue. On the left, you can't see anything in that low light, and on the right, obviously, there's someone behind that chair. And you can get closer, back, change all the different settings to a contrast that you're comfortable with. This might be a video. And this is just the video capabilities, so you can actually see what's going on. So you can see me, I'm messing with the controller. You can see everything I'm doing, there's no question what that is. And so that's very beneficial if we're looking for people in certain lighting conditions. This one's an example of when you go to thermal, what a great application it is for the residual heat for my police radio, like my pants versus a holster. I would have seen that holster. If you asked someone to display a gun in the night, I couldn't see that, but with this, I could see if they had a weapon on them. So it's just another practical application. And that's all I have. Any questions for me? Otherwise, we would be turning it over to Commander Barstead for any other questions.
I got a few, but I'll wait and see what.
Okay. We won't go anywhere.
Good afternoon. Vice President Schultz, members of the council, I'm Dean Barsted, Commander of the Police Department. As we prepared for having an operating drone program or UAS program, we've established standard data entry procedures into our records management system to ensure detailed data is easily available for mandated UAV reporting to the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Department policy amendment to ensure compliance with FAA regulation. Statutory requirements, best practices, and safety considerations is up to date and will be ongoing as needed. I know in the council packet, there was a copy of our drone policy included with that. We have updated that as even after you had received that. I can certainly leave copies of that updated policy with you if you wish. The New Ulm Police Department requested for public comment per Minnesota State Statute 626.19. The request for public comment was made via local media outlets in April, and we received no responses to that public comment request. Our next steps really are to add additional certified UAV pilots to the team, members from within our own agency, and potentially secure additional aircraft for training purposes, as Chief Workert had mentioned. This really kind of concludes all of the information that we have prepared to present to you. If there's any questions, we'll certainly be happy to have them addressed by the panel member we feel is best qualified to do so.
First, it's a public hearing, so I'm going to see if anybody from the audience has any questions and wants to step up. Not hearing any, I'll certainly ask a few that I have. What's the dimensions again, Tara? I think you said 14 inches?
About that, yeah.
14, like all the way around?
Yeah.
Yeah, the DJI Mavic
That's a lot smaller than I expected.
Mavic drone is about 14 inches by 17 inches.
Wow.
In looking at the top of it, and that is with the propellers attached and the legs of it unfolded.
And it's battery operated.
Correct.
And how long can it be up in the air?
The batteries are rated for up to a 45-minute flight.
Wow.
With general operation and some of the different programming that would be operating and running while it's in flight, we're looking at more realistically probably 32 to 35 minutes of flight time per battery.
If other cities in our neighborhood want to need this service, would we be willing or able to assist them? And would we do that at a cost, or would we not?
We've not discussed necessarily any fee schedule. We do work with other agencies with some of the resources we have, and so we would be open to discussing those with those agencies.
Okay. So I think we'd almost have to have something set up ahead of time.
Would that be covered under our mutual aid or not? Does it fall into that category?
Mr. Vice Chair, members of the council, yes, that would be part of our mutual aid agreement that we have. And we, there's other counties that we actually have joint powers agreement with, basically anyone that's part of our drug task force and ERU. So that's even a stronger relationship. So that would be Redwood, Lyon, Renville, and Brown County are all part of that. And then every municipality that's within those counties.
Do any of those have drones now?
Yes.
So I thought I
Yeah,
heard that.
Marshall, Redwood, Renville, they all have a drone program.
How many operator pilots did you say there were? 2?
We have 2 right now. We have Adam Towles, and then we have Commander Barsted. And then, the rest of us are working on it. There's quite a bit that's involved with it. It's pretty extensive. But we really plan on adding, pilots as quickly as possible. We also have fire department personnel, because again, this was a mutually shared resource, and they're working on it as well. So I think, each month, if we would give quarterly updates, I think you're gonna see 1 or 2 more pilots adding, probably each quarter. I think that's a reasonable expectation.
That's what I was going to ask. Are the pilots just on a on-call status, or like, 'cause
Yes.
you need at 2 a.m. for a search and rescue? Is someone always available, or how does that
We
work?
hope so.
Okay.
I mean, because, realistically, right now, We were completely dependent on Adam Towles to be able to put that drone up. Now we've just expanded that by having Commander Barstead. We have, it's expanding our capability. As far as I'm concerned as the chief, I'd like to see, all of our officers trained at that at some point. It's certainly not cost prohibitive, but there's a lot of training involved with it. There's a lot of training time. But, the more pilots we have, really, realistically, the better off we are.
Certainly.
Dave, would you say it's 40 hours of training, 80 hours of training, or, for example?
I thought I was further through as I'm going through it. What would you say, Dean? You just went through it. If you're going to give a complete total, a summary, would you say 80?
Wow.
I'd
70?
probably 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it certainly has definitely an officer safety perspective that I really like, but also just the fact of search and rescue, a lost kid in the woods or, or cornfield or whatever. I mean, just imagine the assistance that will be able to quickly find that child and river recovery and just all kinds of things like that. Is it used more, do you think, during the day or more at night, on average, from what you know from your,
During the day.
really? Okay.
But, I mean, you want the night capability, but, doing night searches, there's limitations just simply because, I mean, we have the ability, to obviously see things
Yeah,
in the evening,
yeah.
but there's also more prone for injuries because, this enhances our search, but, you're still going to need the old-fashioned grid searches, which I know Counselor Christian's very familiar with. So that's basically where, whatever we can see in front of us, shoulder to shoulder or arm to arm. But like I said, the drones definitely enhance our capability.
Great. Other questions or comments?
Oh. You want to add that?
As far as daytime use, being we're pairing up with the fire department, we did a controlled burn, and that was during the daytime out on the Shag Road, and we used it to identify hot spots, and we were actually able to see trees that were too hot and would have reignited once we left. So it was very nice to be able to see that in the day with the different contrasts. So that's another great application to use, so.
Yeah, it's
And Mr.
incredible.
Vice President, I don't know, Adam, do you have anything that we missed that you think would be a benefit to the council and to the public?
I think we've covered everything. The big thing is just the safety that we've taken for this, pardon me, and the safety that's required to man one of these things properly is really the big thing that we want to push for that.
Great.
So my responsibility is always, that for as far as statutory compliance is that we cover that there's laws, there's higher government laws that certainly govern this, that our policy is within compliance of that, which I'm confident it is, and that I'm reporting to you as a council the budgetary, the fiscal responsibility and expectations connected with that.
It'd be interesting in a year or so from now to have you come back and just tell us how it's going.
Sure.
And tell the counselors here what, some scenarios that you used it on. I think they'd appreciate that.
And we're happy to do that, and we're always available for questions and comments.
Thank you all for your work on this project. Counselors, I entertain a motion here.
Yeah, it seems like it's in very good hands. It seems like you've done your homework, your research, and I know Adam's been operating these things for years, so you're pretty good to go. So I'll offer the resolution, close the public hearing, and establish the New Ulm Police Department Unmanned Aerial System, the UAS program.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any last comments or concerns, questions? Hearing none. Nicole, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on, thank you again for your presentation. Moving on to license and permits, we have a rideshare renewal.
I'll offer a motion to approve the issuance of rideshare services license renewal for Angela Suits for the period beginning July 17th, 2024, ending June 30th, 2025, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 3.2, temporary on-sale liquor license for Cathedral.
I'll make a motion to approve an issuance of a temporary on-sale liquor license for the Cathedral of the Holy Trinity, doing business as Holy Cross AFC to sell alcohol at a church festival located at the Brown County Fairgrounds, 1201 North State Street on Saturday, September 21st, 2024, and Sunday, September 22nd, 2024, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
Second.
Second, again, any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last one, bingo, pull tabs, and raffles for the Cathedral of the Holy Trinity.
I'll offer a motion to approve the issuance of lawful gambling permit for Cathedral of Holy Trinity to conduct conduct bingo, pull tabs, and raffles gambling at Brown County Fairgrounds, 1201 North State Street, and the New Ulm Civic Center, 1212 North Franklin Street on Saturday, September 21st, 2024, and Sunday, September 22nd, 2024.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, reports from counselors. This is information on any of our committees or trainings that we've been to in the last month. We'll start with Eric.
Nothing new to report. I did a ribbon cutting in lieu of Mayor Backer the other day and had a great time doing it. I learned I have to do a countdown, though.
Oh, yes.
I think I saw that on Facebook, yeah.
Mental health addiction locations.
Eric's
so.
going to help me out on my
Yep.
on my presentation when I get there, so I'll turn it, Mr. Mack, anything on your end?
I've got nothing to add on my end.
Mr. Christian, Counselor Christian, anything?
No HPC meeting, lack of agenda items, no Park and Rec meeting, lack of agenda items, but you are going to get the donations from the June meeting, Park and Rec,
Okay.
later down the agenda.
Mayor?
I don't have anything to report on the past, but just to remind people that Bavarian Blast is coming up. And there will be a parade on Sunday, and encourage everybody to support our local festival.
Wonderful. Thank you. Chris, anything from the manager?
I was in Rochester for LMC annual conference. I think that was pretty good. Pretty good conference. A lot of good information. Did a walking tour of their downtown and how they solicited community feedback. So that was a pretty good way that they do it to reach individuals that aren't normally reached, so citizens that don't normally come out to participate, how they were able to reach out to them. Community engagement, the walking tour we did. Forget what they call them, community ambassador program. So that's something that we'll probably look into. They do a training a couple times a year, so I might go up there and see how they are able to implement that in the community.
I also attended the league training. Very interesting with their walking tour that we had. Their lights on their community are all exactly the same height, but the topography's not. So there were some poles that were literally 4 feet tall and some that were 20 feet tall because they raised it so it was always the same, and then each light blinks one by one and they turn it on at night. I guess it's pretty cool. It was interesting. I attended several workshops. One was on shaking the money tree, which was interesting. But I want to talk a little bit, and Eric's going to help me with this one. We had a Chat GTP seminar, but it wasn't the original Chat GTP. It was the next step and how your city could benefit from it. And I know a little bit about it because my granddaughter plays with it, but I didn't know a lot, and it was really interesting. So what I have in front of you, and you can see on your screens there, is Eric's going to type in 2 different questions, and what it was designed to do is really help you solve city issues or give you ideas. So the first question, if you want to read that, Eric?
Yeah, he has, what are some taglines we could consider in rebranding the city of New Ulm, Minnesota?
So this is artificial intelligence, and you see how fast this response comes up. So these are potential taglines that we could use, and there's we're talk of branding next year. Where tradition meets tomorrow, proud past, promising future. Just some really interesting things. And as Eric mentioned, every time you do this, you get different answers. And so the guy that we were learning from just said throw out some issues in your city. So the second one, I said, how could we better utilize our two rivers in New Ulm with tourism as well as and improving life in the city of New Ulm? So this one's a really interesting response. It actually breaks it down and puts it into categories. Some of the other ones were where tradition finds its future, cherish the charm. And I'm certainly not going to read all these, but you'll see how it breaks it down into different categories and how, encourage development along the river for restaurants or businesses and renting canoes and promotion of events along the river, which we do a little bit of that. Have more of our festivals and markets down along the river. And that goes, can you scroll up on that, Eric? Yeah. There's like 3 pages of that. Community engagement, market and branding. So yeah, it's just, if you want to have something to play with, it's G, P, T, right? Am I right? Play with it at home. It's kind of fun. So.
Can it solve a budget?
Actually, you could ask it what you should look at and if you're going to have to cut your budget, that was one of them that somebody brought up. What category should you look at first? And it'll tell you, according to artificial intelligence, of course. But anyway, that was really interesting. And that's it for my report on that one. So let's move on to number 5, new business, 2023 MSAS project final assessments. Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and City Council members. This item in relation is associated and kind of connected with the next 2 items as well that I have before you tonight. What I'm asking for council approval tonight is just approval of the final assessment rules and setting the public hearing date for adoption of those special assessments for Tuesday, September 17th at 4:30 p.m. First one is for the 2023 MSAS improvement project, and you may remember that was the North Highland Avenue Mill and Overlay project and the North Broadway full-depth reclamation project that took place over last summer. So just next step in the process to finalize these projects and close them out.
So this is just setting a date and time. Okay, councilors?
I'll offer motion to approve the final assessment rolls for the 2023 MSAS improvement projects and set the date for the public hearing for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have same thing again on utility, street and alley improvements.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Vice Chair, same thing, but this was for the USA project.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the final assessment rolls for the 2023 utility, street, and alley improvement project and set the public hearing for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. One last one, surface reconstruction project final assessments.
Motion to approve the final assessment rules for the 2023 surface reconstruction project. Set the public hearing date for Tuesday, September 17, 2024 at 4:30 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Something a little different. Let's talk about a single-family house relocation from 327 North Broadway to 1007 North Minnesota Street.
All right, good evening, councilors. John Nisley, planner with the City of New Ulm. I wanted to provide a little background on this project before going into any kind of motions. So the Economic Development Authority is in the process of selling property located at 320 North Broadway to a private developer. Currently, there is a single-family home located on the property, and the developer would like to demolish any home or any buildings on that site prior to moving in and developing that site further. So, as we all know, or are well aware of, the shortage of single-family homes in New Ulm that are in the price range for first-time home buyers in our community. This, of course, is reflected in the 2022 housing study that showed that very definitively. And because of that fact, there is interest in saving the home and relocating it to a property that is vacant and tax forfeited located at 1007 North Minnesota Street. Additionally, the renters of the single-family home located at 320 North Broadway, I believe they've been renting that home for 6 or 7 years at this point in time, are in the process of purchasing their first home and would like to buy the home if it were able to be relocated to 1007 North Minnesota Street. So the property at 1007 North Minnesota Street was forfeited in 2023. After forfeiture, the city was allowed to enter the property and remove the blighted and abandoned home that was on the site. The city is currently carrying that cost, and that cost will be assessed to the property in the near future. This assessment, or that cost associated with that, is included in the total cost of this project. All costs associated with moving the single-family home to property located at 1007 North Minnesota would initially be paid for by the city. Those including the cost of removal of the blighted home that previously existed on the property would be accounted for and would determine the final cost of selling the property with the home relocated to the new owner. Staff has consulted with the city attorney regarding this project, and they have determined that this process is legal as it would be alleviating blight on one property, readying publicly owned property for private sale, and saving a single-family home from demolition in the community, and thereby responding to the city's documented need for more affordable housing, single-family housing options. The city has been leading the organization of this project and has received initial estimates from local contractors on all aspects of the project, and they're attached in this action item. City has also prepared a projected timeline for the project, and that can also be seen in the attachments, but I'll just say it verbally for you all. If this were to be authorized tonight, we would like to publish in the paper that the city will be soliciting bids for all different aspects of this project. We will be doing a walkthrough on July 21st. For anybody who would be interested in bidding on this project, those bidders or those contractors will be required to come to the walkthrough with us. Bids would be due August 14th. We would like to start work immediately after bids are accepted, and then complete the work by the end of September. It's a really fast-paced timeline, but we believe that we can achieve that. Moving the house is probably one of the biggest hurdles, but both contractors that we've been in contact with are confident with that timeline and moving the house to that location. Currently, the initial estimates that we have for all costs associated with this move would bring the total to $156,000. And that would conclude the staff report.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
John, I'm assuming that this lot at 1007 North Minnesota Street is a 50-foot gridwood lot, so it's going to meet, there's no setbacks with 5-foot setback on this particular home, or?
Correct.
It's going to meet
Yep.
the needs?
Yep, and we've already gone over that with the people who are currently living in the house on 320 North Broadway, discussed where they would like to have it set on the property. It would meet all the setbacks, front, side, rear, and everything like that. And it is our traditional 50 by 165 lot.
Okay. So you're already saying to us that you potentially have a buyer
Yes.
that's interested. Do we know the final price, or we're going into this with that this is the estimate and not to exceed this 156, or?
So this 156 that you're seeing are the initial estimates that we went out to all different contractors on the different aspects of the project. So HVAC and plumbing, we got quotes on. We got a quote for the basement, a quote for the house move, the addition on the back. We also had quotes for removing the trees, included the assessment for demoing the house on the other property at 1007. So all those are initial quotes, but we won't have a final price until we get actual bids in and accept those. We have also met with this potential buyer. We've met with their lender as well, and their lender's comfortable with this process.
Well, I'm just going to come up to say it. A new house going in the old grid work part of town, a lot of people don't want to build the more narrower style homes. So I think it's a good fit, with repurposing, and it meets the criteria. And if the new developers don't want the property, I think it's a good idea. And if we got a potential buyer, and if we can work with them on a first-time home buyer basis, I think it's a win-win.
Kind of a win-win.
Yeah, it really is.
So, on that.
Who
That's
came up
my
with this
thoughts.
idea, anyway?
Quite the initiative.
I don't know. Team effort.
Well, thanks for all the work you did. I mean, clearly this wasn't an easy I mean, it was a daunting task to get all that put together, to get bids put together. So I feel like we're all in favor. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the use of the Land Acquisition Fund and Fund 290 in an amount not to exceed $160,000 to move the existing home from 320 North Broadway to 1007 North Minnesota Street and install new infrastructure at the new location.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2 items left. New Ulm Fire Department services to help the Flying Dutchman Motorcycle Club.
Well, we've done it for a lot of years, so,
Yeah.
and we've never had any issues, so I'm going to authorize New Ulm Fire Department Rescue Squad to provide services to Flying Dutchman Motorcycle Club for their motorcycle hill climb on Sunday, August 25th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last one, Police Department donation of $150.
I'll offer the resolution to accept the monetary donation of $150 from the United Prairie Bank to support National Night Out on July 25th, 2024, and future NNO events.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? Nicole, would you please call roll?
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Wormka?
Yes.
Motion carries. That will conclude our city council meeting. We'll take a break, just a short break, and we will move into the work session, which most of you are all here for.